If you're joining me, then let me know if we're live, if you can hear me, any of those good things. That will help me to know if the audio is working. So I appreciate that. If you're on Facebook or on YouTube, that would be greatly appreciated. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. So I started working on this a little bit last night. To me, this is a really critical piece to work through in the drawing process, to start to add in this very, very dark color right from the start. It can dominate and it can become too dark if we're not careful. So I want to make sure that I'm very careful in applying it. Yeah, so if you're able to hear me, let me know if you don't mind, if you're on Facebook or if you're watching this streaming live on YouTube. We're streaming live to both of those platforms right now. So if you are over there, shout out to me and tell me you can hear me, and I would appreciate that. Okay, so maybe we aren't live. I will go ahead and check since I'm not hearing. Oh, Melanie, thank you. All right. Hey, it was good to see you on office hours today, Melanie. Thank you for letting me know. So, Melanie is watching over on Facebook Live. So now I won't sit here and wonder the entire stream. Ah, please, thank you for letting me know. Appreciate that as well. Awesome. Yeah, thanks, guys. You know, early in this process, also, the pencil, it just does not adhere to the surface evenly. Um, it just doesn't. And that's, that's just something that happens. I have to be okay with that. That's the way that colored pencil works on this surface. And so, because of that, you kind of have to know what is acceptable so you can ignore it and not become distracted by that phenomenon. And the other side of it is, what is important? What do you need to remove? Those things you don't want to ignore. Because if you ignore those things, then you got a big mess on your hands that you got to clean up later. So some of the unevenness, and you might be able to see this. Let me zoom in a little bit here. So it's going to be down at the edge of your screen, but right here is a little bit of a clump right there of pigment that is adhering in an uneven way in this gradation, because this is all a gradation of value from a dark value right here. And then it's moving away from that area. Hey, Joyce, thanks for joining us over there on Facebook as well. And if I keep increasing the dark value up here by the edge of the nostril and moving away from that, and you see what happened there, I hope, that eventually I got rid of that darker little speck because I kept adding more pigment up here. So the value increased. Therefore, it was made irrelevant because of that. Used to, what I would do is I grab my kneaded eraser right away, and I would just start getting rid of that little clump, which was, looking back on it now, it was sort of a waste of time. The effort really wasn't a waste of time, but what was a waste of time is, because it helped me to see the clear vision of what I was doing. But it was a waste of time because it was going to take care of itself eventually. Not very long, not very much longer. And increasing that value would have taken care of that. And if I had known to just be a little more patient with some of those irregularities on the surface, then I would have saved some time by not freaking out over those things and going in there and erasing them. Now, I didn't freak out, but you know what I mean. I went in there and would have to quickly erase those things just to keep a very even transition and keep it all very, very smooth. But you don't always need to do that, is my point. Sometimes you do. Like in this case right here, I will go ahead and remove this little area. Hopefully you can see this. Zoom back in here. So a couple little spots right there and right there. Now I will remove those because we're getting out here towards the edge of this shadow. And actually, I'm going to remove a little bit more now that I'm looking at this closer. Okay, now I'm going to come back in there and do something that oftentimes seems futile to portrait artists and colored pencil when they're first beginning, and that is to go ahead and lay those pencil marks back down again. Now that I know that the pencil surface is a little uneven in that area, then I didn't press as hard in that area. I kind of skipped over it a little bit. Okay. Now let me go to the next area that is darker. It's right up under here. So right here where that edge of the nostril is, that's going to be darker, obviously. Right here is going to be darker all the way down. And then it turns, it shifts over here. So I'm going to make this dark all the way down here. But before I do that, I started noticing that this little inside edge of the nostril, that angle is starting to become a little skewed at the moment. So I do want to fix that using sticky putty now. A little stronger. That's a little stubborn. I don't know why that's as stubborn as it is. I'll use my Tombow Mono. Actually, should not be that stubborn right now, but sometimes that happens. Use my kneaded eraser to kind of clean that up. And come back in there and reinterpret where that edge is. I heard somebody say one time that you can draw everything on a face with triangles. And to a certain extent, it's kind of true. I can see that. And maybe not just on a face, but on a lot of organic images, maybe you could do that. Because this is a little triangle right here. There's a little triangle right in here. I mean, you could go on and on. There's a triangle right here. There's one right here. There's triangles everywhere, really, on the face. Sometimes that's helpful to identify those things, especially with regard to the values. If we're looking around at the things that are creating the dark values, creating those shadows, if if your mind is able to make sense out of them and label it as a triangle, then if that works, then that's something to consider doing. One of the real tricks to working in a grisaille method is just making sure that you don't go way too dark too early with your dark value pencil. I'm starting with a dark value pencil, but I don't want to use the full tonal range of this pencil. I want to use the full strength of this value early on. I want to reserve some of that. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and work on that curve again up here in the eye. Oh, hey, Maria. Maria is watching over on YouTube Live. How are you? It's good to see you out on office hours today, too. My goodness, we had a bunch of people out there today. I always like seeing that. Okay. Let's go ahead and remove a little bit of that right in there. We'll just soften that value up just a little bit. There we go. I want to pay attention to this lighter value right there. So Maria is asking how long I've been live tonight. I don't know exactly. Let me see here. Maybe 15 minutes, something like that. Maybe. Not very long. There we go. That's a lot better. Actually, take a little more off right there. There we go. Okay. Now, we want this area right here in the upper eyelid after the crease, or in between where the upper crease is and the eyelashes, to be a little bit darker. Not a lot, just a little. That's probably good. Same way out here. This is getting dull. All right. So this area. I want to make sure that I don't pull this down, this top wrinkle down too far, too close to the eyelash line. There we go. I'm going to make this just a little bit darker, and then I'm going to remove it a little bit just so that I can stain the paper a little bit in this area. Just enough to have some value in that area. Oh, I may have been drawing off the frame here earlier when I was on the mouth. Apologize for that if I was. There. If I am using a kneaded eraser and I don't want as much to come off, then I'm not going to turn it. So I'm going to use the tip of that to um, not take off as much, to just gently take off a little bit. Because it already has some of the pencil on there, it's not taking off a whole lot, which is what I'm intending to do. If you're wanting to remove a whole lot of what's on the surface, then sometimes the kneaded eraser is not the right tool to use. I nearly think of the kneaded eraser as part of my drawing utensils. It's part of my drawing tools because I'm able to draw with them. I'm able to affect the value change in an area with the kneaded eraser, just like I do a pencil sometimes. Take off a little bit more, but not a lot. Okay. It's probably good for right now. There's a little tiny bit of wrinkle right there. I want to make sure that I indicate that a little bit. And this area does come out more, but I'm not going to depict that right now. I'll worry about that later on. This is one of the darkest areas right here in the eyebrow. And then right underneath it is one of the brightest areas in this whole area of this side of the orbital area, this eye over here on this side. Okay, let's go back just a little bit. Here we go. I have a little bit of value in here. It's not in a shadow though. I'm not going to put a shadow in there because that would make that way, way too dark. So here we go. Hey, another Maria over there in on YouTube live watching. Maria Meza MA. Thanks for joining us. Okay. Now, I've got a kneaded eraser that is a little stiffer that I've used a lot. And I'm just going to tap a little bit of this. Not a lot. Just to remove some of that. And why do I do that? Because sometimes it helps to create a smooth appearance or a smooth transition in the value. Helps to even things out. And sometimes that's what we want. You know, we don't want it to be so overbearing. We don't want a whole bunch of blue in that area by the time we're done. Early on, it's okay to have a little bit of blue, but I'm trying to stain the paper is what I'm doing. All right, I need to stay focused in this area for right now. Okay. Darkest area is going to be in that wrinkle. I think we're communicating that just fine right there. Here we go. All right. Yeah, Maria, you're right. I'm working on pastel matte. That's exactly right. Okay. I may put this back in here, but for right now, I want a little more of a separation right there. And that's fine, though. Hey, Shiny. That was funny. How are you? Thanks for joining us. Shiny's out there on YouTube Live. Okay. Now, this value, let me see here. This value over here, right in between, is a little bit of a highlight, so I don't want to lose that. And in fact, I want to grab a little bit more of that highlight by removing some of that blue. That's probably enough right there for right now. Okay. So this area goes back down. And okay. Or move back over here to the other side. And this is, make sure I got that. This is a darker side. Oh, yeah, Shiny. It's close to my bedtime. I go to bed early. And it's already after 9 here, 9 p.m. I wake up real early, though. So, yeah, I usually wake up between 5 o'clock and 5:30, somewhere in there. Sometimes I wake up at 4:30 or something, but not always. Tomorrow I'm going to be waking up really early. I'm taking my daughter to the airport, so that's going to be really, really early. All right, so we're going to take this dark shadow all the way down the nose. Yeah, I'm not one of those people that can stay up all night. I know some people do that, but that is not me. Not even close. Okay. Yeah, today on office hours, for those of you that were there, you might recall we talked a little bit about some of the differences in pastel matte and Stonehenge paper. They start out pretty similar, though. That's the interesting thing about it. I want to get a little more value over here on the nose so that I have more context to work with over here on this eye. I can see more of the values surrounding that eye. Oh, hey, Deborah. How are you? Deborah's joining us on YouTube Live. There we go. It was so beautiful here today, though. It was in the 60s. It was just so nice. Is that a G method? Deborah's asking. I'm not. I'm not real sure. Um, I'm not sure what you're asking, Deborah. Um, yeah, I just started doing this, streaming this live last night, I believe. So it's just a project that I'm working on once in a while, right before bed, usually. Um, when there's not enough time to get anything else done, then I'll pull this out and work on it a little bit. Yeah, Grizzeye method. That's what you're meaning, right? Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's a Grizzeye method. Sort of the modified John version of a Grizzeye, I guess, because I did start out with Caput Mortem, but now I'm wanting to get a darker, richer tone in here. And like many of you guys know, I like to gravitate towards that dark indigo in Polychromos. So if you guys are inside Member Circle, then we've got that members only office hours coming up on Saturday. I'm so excited about that. And I'm very excited about this one because Barb Sotiropoulos is going to be doing a critique. And so if somebody chooses to submit their artwork, and they can do it inside the comments over there, um, then she's going to take that and do a critique. And she really specializes in looking for the creative process. If you're wanting to add some creative elements in your work, um, Barb is very good at that. Good at helping with that as well, and mentoring um, artists in that methodology. So I can't wait for that. It's going to be exciting. Exciting stuff. Going to be good. Don't worry about it, Deborah. I've heard people call that word all kinds of things. No big deal. I've heard it pronounced uh, Grizzy Eye, Grisaille, all kinds of things. So no biggie. I kind of like the G method. What do you guys think? That's pretty good. The G method. Yeah. I'm laughing at Shiny's comment. I'm just imagining somebody stumbling on this later on, listening to me just laughing out loud. So that's the reason why I'm explaining my chuckles and what I'm laughing at, because you may not be looking at the chat. You may be wondering, what's he laughing about? Is he crazy? Well, I'm crazy. I'm not crazy for that reason. I may be crazy for other reasons, not that one. All right, so now I can go back up here. Got enough value down there on the nose that it gives me some context over here. So my darkest area, one of my darkest areas up here near the corner, is going to be right in here. Right there. Oh yeah, Melanie, you said you can't see the comments on YouTube, so she's on Facebook. For those that may not know, yeah, it gets a little disjointed, doesn't it, whenever I'm responding to comments in both places. So I have to kind of fill you in if you're on one or the other, and otherwise it's just kind of a odd conversation. Yes, Deborah, it's dark indigo. It's the blue color. That's what I'm using for that. Now I'm going to impose this right here in a lighter area, and I'm making it a little bit darker right now for a moment, and then I'm going to get rid of that and erase it. There we go. Hey, Lonnie, thanks for joining us. Lonnie is over there on Facebook Live. So yeah, it's going to be a colored pencil drawing. Yes, it's already a colored pencil drawing, but yeah, you're right. I'm starting with a grisaille method. Started with Caput Mortem, and now I'm using dark indigo by Polychromos, and or the Polychromos pencils by Faber-Castell. And so I'm going to be putting color on top, natural skin tones on top of what we've already got down. Okay, this needs to be so much darker right in here. Well, this whole area right here should represent one whole edge, or not edge, but plane right here on this side of the nose. There's a huge difference right there in that value. Now, it's not this dark, but I'm going to create a darker value for a moment and work out some of that unevenness with the pencils, and then I'm going to remove that. But it starts up here being very dark, and then there's a slight shift in value as it moves its way down the nose. But everything on this side of the face is going to be quite a bit darker anyway. So we're going to be fine with making this darker, even if our reference doesn't indicate that. I still want everything to be darker right here at this shadow edge, right? That makes a lot more sense logically when we know kind of how light works. We kind of know what to expect there. It's sort of this edge is representing to us the Terminator. Okay. Draw that back in here one more time. And then we'll soften that edge again right here where we start to get close to a Terminator right here on the nose. Okay. We haven't really made this dark under here on the bottom plane of the nose yet, but we do need to do that. All right. I like to look at it over there on the screen to get a thumbnail view of it. And it gives me a different vantage point than what I'm looking at right here on my drawing surface. Okay. All right, let's see. Go ahead and add more information for that bottom edge of the nostril where I start to see that opening right there, and then over here. It's going to be so much darker right up under the root of the nose. And then over here on this side as well. As that turns back around, it's going to be dark right up under here. And with the light coming from this direction, then we've got a little bit of a cast shadow happening as well, right up under here. And on the other side of that first division, this division on this side of the philtrum, and then over here on that side. So now I can come back over here and create more of that cast shadow all the way across. So everything over here is creating our cast shadow for the nose. The light in this case is coming from up above, but it's also coming more horizontal as well. All right, let me look at that outer edge of the nostril. So I want to clean up that edge. Not because I want it lighter, I don't. But I don't want the darkest value to be uneven. Even though, yeah, I'm going to be adding more layers. I still don't want it to get way too out of balance over here as far as dark and light values not being in the right spots, because that can start to be distracting to myself as I'm working on the drawing. I might be able to keep it all straight and just tell myself, oh, that's not supposed to be that dark over there. I'll remember that. But chances are, I know myself, chances are I'll forget. And then I may be working on some other part of the drawing and I'll be looking over there, kind of gauging, even unconsciously sometimes, I'm gauging what that dark value is that I'm working on by other relative values around it. And if I haven't created the right tonal value over there in the area that I'm kind of looking at as a reference, then it can create problems for me in my drawing. So just keep the values all within their proper range, as close as you can the entire time as you're working through the drawing. It just makes everything, it just makes your job so much easier when you do that. Rather than telling yourself, oh, I haven't done all the shading yet. I'm still working on the shading. Don't, give yourself an excuse for that. Just say, I got to get that shaded correctly over there right now so that I don't confuse myself. That's what I try to do anyway. Don't always hit it, but that's what I try to do. So this shadow shape over here starts very, very small over here by the nostril. And then as it wraps around, it becomes larger. But over here, it's very small. But then it spreads out as it approaches this left side over here. Okay, I don't want that side to be way too dark because I need a lot of red in there later on. So I'm going to remove some of that so that it can be more red. There we go. Yeah, so Lonnie brings up a good point. And I know some artists will, color pencil artists, that is, will come in here and use um, graphite for their line drawing. Nothing wrong with that, but for me, I don't like to do that because it uh, is difficult to remove those gray lines later on. And why not just use a colored pencil? It's the same material and the same properties of everything else you're going to be using in the drawing. And it makes everything um, so much easier because you're laying down that foundation that you don't have to erase. Now, most of the time, I'm using a Colorase, Prismacolor Colorase pencil, or the Caran d'Ache Sketcher pencil as my initial uh, line drawing. And I don't necessarily need to erase that either. I could. Sometimes I do. A lot of times I do. But I don't have to do that. All right, let's go back up here. So this area over here on the right is going to be lighter because it's in a highlight. And everything over here is in my shadow. And right here, this little area in the upper eyelid is reflecting light. So I do want a little bit of a highlight there. Yeah, Deborah is over on YouTube asking, is there a difference between the Prismacolor Colorase and the Caran d'Ache Sketcher pencil? And I think that's what she's asking. And there really isn't all that much different. I don't notice any difference, to be honest. Um, the Prismacolor Colorase pencils, there's more variety. There's more options, right? So in the Caran d'Ache Sketcher line, I think there's just the blue. I could be wrong about that. Someone could check on that, I guess. They're totally erasable, though. That I do like. It's a non-photo blue, is the color of the Sketcher pencil. The hardness, yeah, they're both very very similar in and comparable in hardness. I mean, commonalities are so close that I just don't even think about them as being very different at all. So Deborah was asking that question over on YouTube Live, by the way, in case someone thinks I'm just talking to myself. Pardon me. Pardon me. Yeah, you're right about that. It Hello Shiny's asking about that non-photo blue color, the use of that, and yeah, it's supposed to be one of those pencils that you can use um, to do line drawings and then not have that appear or show up in scans. I mean, that's not the reason why I use it though, but I think that was a traditional use of that pencil. I can hardly wait until we get past this stage where the pencil just picks up every little teeny tiny imperfection on the surface. But we've got to we've got to stay the course and keep using it regardless. But it's just it can get kind of annoying. You get tired of this step in the process where everything gets picked up. Um, yeah, and the tendency, especially for me, in the past, was to just kind of skip the process, skip this part of it, and just start pushing it really, really hard because I don't want to go through that. I don't want to have to sit there and wait on the layer to develop and to totally saturate that first layer on the paper. But I've learned to kind of slow down and allow that to happen. When you allow it to happen and when you just let it occur naturally, then it's you'll be rewarded for it later on, and everything becomes so much easier when you do that. Now, this is just because I can. I want to put just a little bit right in there. A little bit of white. I'm going to cover that white up more than likely, but I'm going to put this white in there. And I'll put something else. Um, oh, thanks, Lonnie. Appreciate that. Something that, yeah. So the oranges from the beginners colored pencil course. Yeah, you're exactly right. That's something that we do inside there, and um, didn't realize how much detail you're getting with eyes on the G method. But you have brown eyes anyway. No, I have blue eyes. They may appear to be brown sometimes. I guess I don't know, but they're very blue. They're blue eyes, and yeah. So I will be. I'm going to be adding a very bright blue. Why? Because I've added so much of these dark colors in here. So so Shiny says she'd love to see if uh, if you could handle not adding color to this. Uh, thanks, Shiny. Yeah, we will be adding color to it though. Uh, thank you. Okay, so yeah, my darkest area in this spot is right there. There is a dark area right here, right underneath. This is getting dull. Yep. Too dull. All right. Right under here. This is dark. And then it's an interesting thing, but there's a little bit of a cast shadow that's happening right here because this represents a plane that sticks out just a little bit farther. It's angled up just a little bit more, obviously, than this plane. Because if you thought about where the contour lines would be, They're coming back in, is what they're doing. So there's a little bit of a plane out here that's sort of starting to angle more upward. So due to that, you're going to have a little bit of a shadow right there. And that deposited itself a little bit too much right there. Here we go. I'll take that off too. There we go. Okay. Now, this area over here. So, Lonnie, I think you might have been asking, got in late. Are you on Stonehenge Freehand Wednesday night too? Rapid fire questions here. I love it. So, this is not Stonehenge. This is on Pastel Mat. And this is, this is all freehand. But what were you asking? Let's see here. So this is not Stonehenge. This is on Pastel Mat and Wednesday night. Yeah, I will be doing some, probably doing some tomorrow night at some point. I'm not sure when exactly. Tomorrow at some point. For those that may not know, I do a color pencil drawing stream every Monday at 10 a.m. So you can join us for that if you're able to. But I'll be working on this self-portrait for a while, and I will, try to work on it every day. Sometimes I can't do that, but try to. Yeah, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, Maria. That's right. Oh, that's a good idea, Deborah. Yeah, I could put a post in there in Monthly Sharpener, let you all know that I'm going to be going live. Yeah, that's a good idea. So this area is darker right over here. And right down here, it's a little bit darker. There we go. Yeah, I'm not always going to do that though, Shiny. That would be good, but yeah, I'm probably not always going to do that because um, sometimes I don't know what the next few hours will be. So I just have to kind of play it by ear sometimes, but I'll try to do a post in there as often as I can on letting you guys know if I know ahead of time what the exact time will be that I'll be out here. I wish I was that organized on personal projects. I just can't be. I have to fit them in where I can. And it's usually right before bed, I've noticed. Maybe you guys can relate to that, some of you, I'm sure. All right. The life of an artist. Absolutely, yeah. That's right, Maria. It's like you fit it in where you can, right? Don't want to lose that angle right there. The very delicate angle. It goes more up right in there. That. Let's see. Yeah, it's not going to happen either. Shiny, sorry. Yeah, I wish I could do all that shiny. I'm probably not going to, though. I just don't want to give you the wrong impression and make you think I will do that. I'm probably not. Um, no, not at all. Lonnie, I appreciate the questions. I think it's so fun talking about it. Lonnie, are you working on anything right now currently? Just curious. All right. It's hard to work on things when it starts getting to be nicer weather, I think, for a lot of us. Um, because, the nice spring weather just starts to beckon you. So, okay, let me see here. Something not quite right here. Mm, You know what I would love? Maybe one day this will be invented, Shiny, where I could just, and maybe it already exists. Somebody could tell me this, I guess, but I could just tell one of these devices, like my Amazon Echo. I'm not going to say her name right now, but if I could just tell her, hey, create a post out there, say I'm going live at, you know, in 5 minutes or something, that would be great. But as soon as I do that, then something will come up and I won't be live in 5 minutes. You know what I mean? I'm sure that might happen. So, oh, can you do that, Deborah? That would be so cool. I'll have to figure that out. That would be really nice. Create a post, huh? Yeah, that's what I'm wondering if it can do that. Okay. Oh, it can remind me. See, it's reminding me to do that. I hear you, Shiny. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah, for me it's not a matter of not wanting to do it or anything like that. I do want to do it. It's juggling like my catch up list and other things going on in the business, and trying to find the time to fit in personal projects. And I think in my mind, okay, I'm going to work on email replies for I'm going to set a time and I'm just going to do them for an hour. And by the time I turn around, and then I think, and then I'll go live and I'll do a live stream really quick after I work on email replies for an hour. And I turn around and I've sat there working on email replies for 2 to 3 hours, you know. Okay. You guys, I tell you, surrounded by Commodians over here. It's hilarious. All right. That is funny. Yeah, all these reminders that we get from these digital devices, they start to become meaningless, right? It's just all these pictures and videos that we can now take. They stop becoming precious when they're just so prevalent and we can do it so quickly and easily, uh, which is too bad, really is. All right. Yep, exactly my point, Shiny. That's right. Oh, thank you, Maria. Yeah, now some of that I need to ignore. It's going to be fine. If I ignore parts of that, it'll work out later on. It'll be fine. So I need to not hyper fixate. All right, let me grab this part right here. Yeah, pretty much, Deborah. That's what I do. Even in some of my highlights that are not pure white, there's hardly any, if any at all, pure white on a portrait, on the skin, I should say. The only place I'm going to have a pure white is on that highlight in the eyes. That's it. The rest of it is going to have some type of tonal value in there. So, all right. So yeah, if you look at that nose, side plane of the nose right in there, it's not really even, and that's okay on this surface, this paper, pastel matte, because I'm going to have multiple layers down on this, and it will smooth out the more I put down. So, yeah, like right up in here, Deborah, that upper eyelid, I've got value up in there. Not a lot. I don't know if you can see that or not. There is a little bit of value up here, and that doesn't bother me because it's going to be light, but it's not going to be white. Rarely do we see white, bright white highlights in a portrait in reality when we're walking around looking at people. We see that in photos because we overexpose photos a lot of times. Um, but once in a while, you'll see an artist do that. They'll render the skin. I mean, it's a style choice, right? I mean, it's fine if they decide to do that, but that's not something I want to do. Is make bright white highlights. I just don't see that as being very realistic. Um, I see the values in skin highlights as something that shifts and moves and doesn't stay. It's not a static color or value. It's a variable, and it moves. So this value over here moves, right? It's going to be darkest right up here, and then it's going to move gradually over into a lighter area and then back darker again. So when we get color in there, it'll be more obvious and it won't be just white at all. Um, get a little bit more in here. How long have we been going? I think it's, wow, nearly 10 o'clock. No wonder I'm getting tired. All right. So we got a big interview coming up on, I'll talk about this really quick before I go, on Thursday for the podcast. And I'm so excited about it. There is a live component to it for I only talked about this so to my email list. So if you're on my email list, you'll know what I'm talking about. But and in member circle, I talked about it. But anyway, I'm excited about it, and I'm excited for that one to come out. Let's see here. Did not answer and said me to do my exercises on my face value course. Deborah is always hilarious. All right. I think I will exit laughing this time because I need to put this down and go to bed. I got a long drive in the morning. Really, it's not long, but anyway, I got to take my daughter to the airport. So I got to get up before 5 o'clock because we got to leave at 5. All right. It's not quite looking the way I want it. So that's a good time to stop when you've got work to do and you want to get back to it, right? Okay. Putting the pencil down. You know how that goes. You want to keep on working on it, but I'm not going to do that. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me tonight. It's been a lot of fun, and we made some progress. So I will see you probably tomorrow. So take care. I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.